Hello, welcome here today. I'm with Shallow Water Blackout from Corona, California, and today is, what's the date?
Today is Saturday.
What? Today is November 30th, 2024. We're in Pomona, California at the Haven, playing with a crazy lineup, but I'm here to ask some questions today. So, you guys just played. How do you feel?
Great. I feel
Amazing.
very great. It was super fun.
Ecstatic, energized,
All right.
Terrified as well.
Happy.
How well do you think you played? Scale of 1 to 10.
You want to do like personally or like
Whatever you
Like tonight?
Okay.
lucky
Yeah,
number,
tonight?
lucky number 7.
Yeah.
7.
Probably 7. 6.5.
Best show you played or no?
Best vibes.
Best vibes?
Best
Yeah,
crowd, best
I agree. I was in the crowd. Best vibes ever. I'll say that. Shout out to the crowd, but nothing else. No like, oh shit. Yeah, you drop your stick.
Yeah.
But we always
No
come back.
worries. We came back.
I do have a good amount of questions, like 12. So I hope you guys are ready to answer. First question. From each of you, what is your favorite creative attribute of each other bandmate? So what do you think they bring to the table that makes your guys' sound? I'll start with you. You're the
You know what?
closest.
Everybody's pretty chill. I like the way they vibe. Andy
Knows how to chill.
knows how to chill.
All right.
No, I feel like Andy is very like not afraid to like try new things, like as far as like musically and stuff. Like we'll just be jamming some shit and then like he'll play something that like at first I'm thinking like, bro, that does not fit. And then it, like as it comes, as like over time, you're like, oh shit, Andy, look at the go.
All right. Next.
It's cool.
Person.
Remy, I think takes a lot of like inspiration from everything in nature. I think Remy is pretty cool about kind of leading the band in like a certain direction, and I think Remy has very good ideas and a lot of cool music inspiration when it comes to writing. So I think they do very good on that.
All right.
And then for Logan, Logan is the riff master. I'll say that right here.
All
You heard it
right.
here
What
first.
does that
Logan
mean?
is the riff master. Logan shoots out riffs as much as he shits, I would say.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I
so
guess you could say oh shit.
I guess you could say oh shit.
Hey, Andy, what do you have to say?
All right. I'll start off with Miguel.
All right.
I think me and Miguel, we've been playing in bands for like 5 years. That's half a decade.
5.
Yeah, I think we have really good like synergy. Like we always have like eye contact.
Always eye
it's
contact.
like it's that eye contact.
I see that. I see that.
Yeah. I think Miguel, like, he's like the perfect like bandmate, I guess. He can adjust really well. Like, when we play something, he's always like there,
Yes. Nice. All right. Next one.
Remy, I think Remy, what they bring distinguishes us from every other band in the scene. The synth is crazy, obviously. And aside from that, like the aesthetic that they bring is very creative. I'll say like Remy's like one person in like a big like crowd of people that's like different. They bring a lot of different stuff.
True. I agree.
And Logan is like he's like the one that like brings
glue?
everything to the table.
The glue?
He brings everything to the table.
The meat.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any
Whoa.
songs without Logan.
Oh.
There's no songs without Logan. Logan comes up with all the ideas.
Yes. True. All right. Good answer. All right, Remy. Here we go.
Those were great answers. I think Miguel and Andy, they have this sort of synthesis that you don't really find in a lot of bands really that just come together as like, a garage rock band for a couple months. They play a couple shows for a year, but I mean, Miguel and Andy, they go way back. Even before Shallow Water Blackout, they come before horror films and even a plethora before that. And you see that on stage all the time. You see that synthesis when, Miguel turns the other way, looks at Andy, and they have like a really good rhythm section. I think that makes a lot of like that low undertone of Shallow Water. It comes from them, both of them, respectively, And then obviously, like Andy said, Logan's basically the foundation for all these songs. Like he has all the ideas, and we just piece it together, really. And yeah, I don't think we'd be anything without that. I think that's the core. It's the backbone, the spine of all these songs. Everything else, molds around it. All that meat, that juicy, tender, medium rare meat. But it all starts with that. It always starts with the guitar. So
Beautiful. I love it.
I think Miguel is probably a better guitar player than me, But no, I actually think that. But, like, I remember for years I was like, "Fuck, he's so much better than me." But also, like, yeah, it's just like so quick. Like, you can come up with something so quick. Like, I'll have some crazy ass idea, and it's like immediately, all right, we already have something that sounds cool. Okay, Andy. Miguel stole my answer. Like, I like half the time I'm like, this is not working, but then like it all comes together, and then like we listen to it back, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like the best song ever. Yeah. Also, just like there's like so many moments like where it's just like in rehearsal where like Andy like comes up with some shit, and it's like these like moments where it's just, oh my god, we're like shitting ourselves because it's so good. I think Andy's an amazing drummer. Remy, everybody knows Remy to be amazing at piano. Like, it's been like forever. Like, everybody, like, it's like family. My family would like gather around Remy and be like, "Oh my fucking god!" But like, that's like obvious. So I would probably say like the lyrics, because it's hard for me to write lyrics and especially like tell like some sort of narrative or something like that. So I think that's probably like their strongest attribute, like lyricism.
Well said, well said. It's good that you guys appreciate each other, because sometimes there's bands who don't do that. Next question. What are your technical weaknesses that you wish you could improve on, or you're trying to improve on?
Well, I'm a guitarist turned bassist, so I think I lack a lot of like bass skills, because I'm just kind of transferring over like my previous knowledge from guitar. So like I can't fucking finger pick for shit on bass. I think like there are some times where I try to do vocals like I did tonight. And I feel like I could get a little better at that. I think I feel a little unconfident at times, so those are definitely things I could work on.
Andy?
I think it's definitely like technique. I could work on my technique a lot more.
Like vocally, like harmonizing with Logan, like it's really hard to like dial in on that on a live stage when it's that loud. And then also playing just such complicated like lead lines on the synth as well is screaming, because, you know, when I write lyrics, they're really jam-packed and there's just like so much I'm trying to say in such short time. And it's really hard to be doing like these arpeggios and all that at the same time as screaming.
Okay, I have my big finger picking bad habit where I use my thumb for the 6th string and the 5th string, but then I start using my pointer on the D string, and that doesn't make sense because then there's the E, so I have to shift up like this shape, up and down. But it's like this habit that I formed over the course of like 4 years, so that's like my worst habit. But like one thing I want to improve on the most is like not doing the same stuff over and over again. I can kind of get into I come up with the same line in like different songs.
It's a motif.
Yeah, motifs. Yeah.
There's a strength.
Yeah. That's my answer, I think.
Next question. This one is more personal, but what is one relationship in your life that influences the way you write or play?
I would say someone very close to me in my life, Stella Buona. I would say they, kind of help me like dial in my good ideas, and then kind of like reject ones that like are maybe not as good. But I'm very thankful in the end, because a lot of the bad ideas go swept under the rug, and the good ideas are kind of kept out there to shine. So I have to say thank you to Stella Buona.
I definitely say like my relationship with like just the overall scene in general. There's a lot of bands that influenced me. Wouldn't be here without them. I see a lot of people my age doing really cool shit, and that's what kind of like influenced me to start doing this. It's
Is
cool.
there any one person or maybe one band that you'd say is like kind of like a light or like a role model?
Yeah, definitely like Woes.
Yeah,
I
agree with that. Very, very solid band if you're watching.
So when it comes to like songwriting, I try to include like every single person in my life. There's like this album of like orchestral compositions. It's called the Enigma Variations, and the composer wrote the initials of every one of the people like he loved and everything like as the titles of the album. So like all the songs that we've been writing, I try to specify to like a specific person. So like with like the songs that have came out already, like Name would be about Logan, and then Proclamation would be more about like myself and like coming into like my own identity and everything. Every Month is more like my family and like personal matters regarding that. And then specifically a lot of like our older songs that we've written revolved more around my partner Sophia, like specifically like our title track on our album that's like never coming out. But yeah, I try to include everyone in when it comes to like inspiration and songwriting. It paints that picture for like what the message of the band is, and that's just like coming together as like one, as like a family of people loving each other. It's great, you know.
And Logan.
I think like in songwriting, I'm like the opposite. I'm like I keep like I and you as a very vague concept. Like I don't really have specific people that I target like my energy towards. It's more like a feeling. My dad doesn't really do music, but I think like the mindset that he instilled in me like allowed me to get where I am now, I'd probably say. Because I don't think I would have done this much without him.
This last one I actually wrote today because I think this is important. With that being said, my question is, what kind of differences are you guys hoping to make in your audience's lives? Like whether it's like just through the music or like through the community, like what would that be?
Ooh, that's a good question, Stella. I have to think about that one because I haven't heard it before, but we strive to create like a safe environment and like a very fun environment for people from all backgrounds to come together to, and I think it creates a cool sort of vibe. Like we meet all kinds of people at our shows, and like every one of them have been like the nicest people ever. So I think like we do that, and we strive to continue to do that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. Andy.
I think something that like I want the audience to take from our shows is like, you know, you can like do any type of music and still get people like engaged, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of bands are too shy to like, you know, go kind of soft.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like good music is good music, and I feel like when we started out, you know, we were very afraid to you know, play shows because we thought, oh, our stuff is too light. People will like it if it's good, you know. Good music is good music.
Just going off of what Andy said, like it was pretty nerve-wracking coming into this scene that's, you know, on the West Coast, like post-hardcore and screamo is more heavily dominated, and our influences take more on like the Midwest emo scene as well as like the East Coast, which, you know, has more of that math rock type feel to it. So like coming into it, it was very scary. I mean, it still is really. Every show that we play, you know, we don't know how we're gonna be received. But I mean, I think it's arbitrary to say like, oh, I'm trying to like out this message to people. I mean, like really all I can say is that we're trying to, you know, build some type of community with like the people who do like our music. Like a big part of the message, I guess, has to do with like identity. So we're very you know, pro LGBTQA+ when it comes to that. Like in this scene, like I don't really see enough of that as prominent as it actually is. Like I see a lot more of the opposite at the same time. It's always like this dueling like battle between these two things, but I want to give people, like Miguel said, a safe space to come together and enjoy music.
I'd say what my goal is to like, I want to try and create like the same moments like I heard when I was like 16, you know, and like the like pivotal points of your life, like especially like then, like a lot of bands that really changed my life, like Title Fight, Merchant Ships, like I could go on a long list, but like I want to like, I could never know if it did, but I would want to elicit that kind of reaction out of somebody, the same kind that I felt, and I hope people get that out of the live shows too.
I mean, I agree. I would say that you guys have already done so, just because I'm a big fan, and I feel like there is a community, and there's definitely a growing community. Even after tonight, all of the people that were just in the crowd, like, you know, giving that energy, because as somebody who's been to like every single show, a lot of people these days are very scared, but it only takes like that one person that who really just feels your music, and I feel like that was present in the room today. God, I think, you know, you guys are doing what you're set out to do, so I appreciate that. Next now is more of a question about these songs. The first one is about name. The song to me feels like a coming of age type like anthem, and I mean, you can hear it through the lyrics, but also a lot through the instrumentation from everybody. Would you guys say that name is almost like an anthem of yourselves at this point, like coming out of high school and kind of, gaining some kind of sense of self in this scene, or at least in your own lives as well. Like, do you think that name is accurate to your guys' lives right now, or do you think you still have time to grow?
Hey! Hey!
So this is what I have to say. Do I resonate with my lyrics? No, I don't, man. I write this in like this blackout period, and then I fall asleep and I wake up and I look at it and I'm like,
Shit, bro.
yeah, writing that song, I mean, that was the first song that Logan and I wrote together when it was just us. And it's a pretty simple song, a lot of like derivative like inspiration. You can tell if you know. I went through like several like lyrical iterations, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to write about, but that song specifically came around just right after we graduated. So I guess you're pretty on the dot when it comes to that. It is very coming of age. It's very reminiscent of things that were, wanting to hold on to those things, but at the same time knowing that things aren't going to go back to that. And you're going to have to grow into this newer version of yourself that is going to turn out for better or for worse. What is it? Always ever changing and growing out from fear. So it's like, it's never going to stay the same at any point. Aside from that, I think after I graduated, that was like kind of the time where I felt more comfortable in like my non-binary identity. Like going through like K-12 through that education, like I didn't feel as comfortable being that way around my peers, because there was this expectation of like masculinity that like I can never really fully perform at like to, and it hurt. It really did hurt. You see that in the lyrics as well, but that last verse where I said, "This is my new name now." It's like this like proclamation of like, I don't
Proclamation.
Oh! Just pride. Just having that pride now and not being fearful of, petty things like that.
I mean, since you are also, one of the founders of the song, I'd like to hear it.
I wrote it when I was like 16. And if you look up a song called Screamers by Sleepy Dog, it's actually very similar to that one. Well, actually, there's one chord removed. But yeah, that song, like, it's weird because I never really get bored of it. So yeah, I guess it does feel like, my vocal parts for that song, like, I guess I'm talking a bit about that, but as far as like the song itself, yeah, it's just an old song, but it never really gets that old for me. Like I used to be tired of it, but I think it's one of my favorites. I like playing the song, and I do kind of get that vibe from it.
Yeah, I like the song. I think yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I like the song.
Yeah, I like it.
The word like coming of age, like I think it's very accurate to this song. When I listen to this and then I listen to Proclamation, you can hear like the maturity and instrumentation between all of us. I feel like Name is a very simple song, but then you hear Proclamation and it sounds like just the natural progression of that.
Yeah.
And I can hear that, and it's something that I really admire that. Listening to that. And I think the lyrics of Name are like vague enough to where like anyone can put themselves in that situation,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember playing that song when I was like 16 and I joined the band in 2021. And it still never gets old. Like, we open with it now all the time. We have an extended intro now, which, is very fun to play. The song never gets old.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
When I first saw or heard the lyrics to Name, I thought it was about something, and I was like, yeah, this is what it's about. And then I got told the actual meaning of the song, and I was like, what the fuck? So I feel like the meaning behind the lyrics is like very ambiguous, and still, even to this day, I'm almost like finding my new meaning in it, and like that more like resonate with like this part of my life. So I feel like it is a coming of age. It kind of does like grow with you,
One thing that I think is very cool about this song, about like its origin, is that the original name was Alexander Supertramp, which was a name, but now the song is called Name.
Was that the new name?
Yeah.
For that song, as a LGBTQ myself, it resonates a lot, and so I'm sure for any other LGBTQ in the crowd, it really is an anthem. Anybody who's been through it or is going through it or is going to go through it, like, it's a beautiful song. So I really appreciate that song, and also just like seeing and knowing, the people. I really like it. It helps me understand more about you guys and stuff. So I love that song, but it's not my favorite. My favorite song is Moose, which is what I'd like to ask about. I wrote down here, as a Shallow Water Blackout super fan and listener, I would say that Moose might be your most captivating and intense song. Very simply, what is the story behind Moose? Because I don't know anything about the song, and I would love to know everything about it.
Okay, do we do the name or what the song's
song.
about? We'll do what the song's about first, because the name isn't relevant until like next year. So the song was actually about like when we graduated, it was that August or actually July, and we were going to the Shea Cafe, right? Shea Cafe?
Yeah.
In San Diego. We were gonna watch Aren't We Amphibians play, and it was Andy and I in my car, in my Acura, and as we were driving past like Lake Elsinore, this pickup truck clipped my car, and we went spinning across like 5 lanes on like the highway up into like this dirt bank. And there's this one part of the song where he's doing like the da 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 that. Yeah. I'm going like, you know.
You'll know. You'll know.
You'll see.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. I'm like, Andy.
I actually didn't know that.
No. It's a pretty somber song because like I wrote the lyrics for that right after that car crash, and I felt really like responsible for Andy's like well-being after that happened because I was the one driving the wheel, and it's kind of like a straightforward metaphor of like you know having people along with you on a ride and like you being like responsible for their well-being, and then like it just all going to shit. And it's your fault at the end of it. It's something you couldn't even predict, but it's still your fault. The title of it comes from, like Andy said, Alexander Supertramp's journal. And it's a whole story. It's a book, Into the Wild. It's a book we read in high school. In his diary, he would write simple words for each one of the days he was out in Alaska. It's this whole thing. And one of the last days was moose, because he shoots a moose in order to try and preserve and eat its meat, but the thing is he lacks the knowledge to be able to preserve that moose meat, so it rots. So I think in like the same way I'm trying to relate, his incompetence to me getting into that car crash, and how like, that's just, it was like preventable, but at the same time I guess it's unavoidable. It's about fate, I guess.
That's not what I was expecting, but I really like that. Now that I know, still my favorite song. Recently, you mentioned that you're working on this EP called Salton City. What is Salton City? And how important is it to you to earn the place as the title of your first EP?
Well, Salton City is north of Mexicali. It's this big, like, landlocked basin of water that's in, like, the more southern part of California. And actually, recently, Sophia, my partner, and we recently went out there to take some principal photography for the jewel case as well as the album cover. The title of it is called Outside of Salton City. And the preface to that, going back to Supertramp, Into the Wild, is that Salton City was one of the last places where Chris McCandless, Alexander Supertramp, visited before he made the trek up to Fairbanks, Alaska, where he spent the last 118 days of his life. So, in a sense, this is like our prelude to the bigger project that we've been working on for about like 3.5, 4 years now. And this is kind of like the prelude fanfare to what's to come. So that's why it's called Outside of Salton City. At the same time, if you visited the actual city, it's pretty desolate, barren, very apocalyptic in nature. And a lot of the songs on the album lyrically deal with that type of coming of age, but the type of coming of age when it comes to like withering and growing too old to like have these same like very volatile feelings that you have as like a young person. So Salton City kind of embodies that for me, is like things fading, withering, and turning into dust over time, and learning to accept that in a healthy way.
And then just the second question, is there a significance of the song choice for Salton City? Because you guys play more songs live than what's going to be on the EP. Because I know that some songs won't make it on there, sadly, but I'm sure there's probably a reason for that.
I think only 3 of the songs we really play live, and that's only because they're more energetic in nature than the rest of the album. Like half of the track list is more like acoustic tracks, more softer. But it doesn't take away from like the vulnerability and like how powerful the songs are. Like we're recording with Jose from Low Ceiling Records and Hamalos. He's been an incredible help to us. You know, we couldn't have done any of this without him, really. I mean, we could have, but it would have sounded like shit. But yeah, you know, just listening to these scratch mixes, like it's phenomenal. It's a pretty emotional listen, to be honest. Listening to it myself, like, and especially going to Salton City and listening to those scratch mixes there, right on the bank of the sea, like it's pretty nice. The front half of the project is going to be more soft, and then as you go through the listen, it's going to get a bit heavier, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or a bit louder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
louder, I think is a good way.
I mean, that sounds awesome. I'm excited. Not to rush, but whenever it comes out, I can't wait to hear it. I mean, I've already heard some of it, and even that, I'm like, damn. Like, it's really cool to hear you guys, because what you have out now it's good, and I like it. But I feel like the recording with Jose, it's kind of like taking it to the next level.
Yes.
Now, we're going to get even more personal, because I have questions personalized for every one of you. I thought about them, you know, after years and years of watching and listening. So, Andy, over the past couple of years, I've watched you grow as a drummer, and I've watched you developed, and in my opinion, a very unique style that kind of stands out from the rest of these, you know, bands in the scene. You know, not because like the other ones suck. I just feel like it's not what I see at every other drummer's like, you know, performance. I just want to know, like, how did you develop that?
Well, I picked up drums when I turned 14, and you know, initially I picked up drums to join a band.
What was the name of the band?
Mirage. It was called Mirage. Yeah.
Mirage.
Yeah, some secret lore. But yeah, you know, over time, you know, I'll say I was kind of the only one in that band to take like my instrument seriously, because we were a bunch of like high schoolers. You know, we didn't really care. But you know, just kind of developed, and then the COVID-19 pandemic happened, and I kind of just spent that entire pandemic, you know, just like grinding away, I guess, at the drums. Yeah, I'll say definitely like a major influence is like post-punk. Yeah, and definitely like Brant Bjork from Caius. He does a lot of like triplets, I guess. Yeah, 16th note triplets.
That's something I've noticed that I'm like, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, if you listen to like that and Dope Throne by Electric Wizard, like you'll see a lot of like a lot of similarities, you know.
Lots of bangers. So would you say like, is there like a word that you could say to describe yours, or is it kind of just like, hey, this is how I play?
If I had to describe a word, it would be dancey.
Dancing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say that it's very decorative, I would say, because there's a lot of places where you find something to say with just like the symbols and stuff, and like you don't hesitate to like move around, where like some people are like, no, in this section like you just got to use this and this, and you're like, I'm gonna be everywhere. So I feel like that's where you're very unique. And also just the triplets, I love the fucking
Yeah.
every time I'm like, yeah. Literally, it's dancey. So,
Thank you.
yes. I have Remy next. On stage, you never hesitate to let loose and put on a show that lets the audience see more emotion than just lyrics and screaming. What kind of mindset do you need to be in to not feel nervous or embarrassed, or is this just kind of something that comes to you naturally?
Personally, like the mindset I have to be in to do that is no mindset at all. Yeah, I mean, everything around you kind of has to fade away, and like I try to focus on key things to like keep me going in a performance, because if one thing can really just like trigger me and set me off, and like I won't put on a great performance, you know. So I try to look behind me and to my left and right as much as I can, see Logan, Miguel, and Andy there, to make sure, you know, it's not just me here. Everyone's putting in their effort, and everyone is equally just as nervous. And at the same time, when I look out in the crowd, almost every show to this date, I have my partner Sophia, and I have my brother Alex right next to them. And looking at them, that gives me so much confidence and strength to just carry on within the set, even if I feel like the audience, you know, isn't taking well to the sound or not. You know, it really doesn't matter to me at the end of the day when I know I'm playing and I'm singing these songs to the people I love, and I'm playing it with the people I love. Yeah.
For Logan, I have you next.
Okay.
As the guitarist, Your parts take the listener through a tense but twinkly and gloomy sweet, as I like to say, landscape. Apart from the lyrics, is there your own stories that you are trying to tell through just your guitar?
No, really no. I attach no emotions to playing guitar at all. Every time I make a song, I have no idea what I'm making. And sometimes I'll be in the shower and I'll be like, oh, I should make something that goes like da 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 da, right? And then I go and I play da 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 da, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like shit. And then I'm like fucking around for, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and then I come up with something. But like I keep it within like the framework of my inspirations, I guess, while also like still trying to do my own thing. But I definitely like I don't know, I try to do like maybe like some kind of free throw thing or something like that, and try to I can't put into words like what the sounds are. I couldn't put into words what the sound of free throw is, but yeah, I just try to do my best to make a good song, and I try to make it perfect.
You just feel it out.
Yeah.
And you're just more feelings rather than I'm trying to tell a story here.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's very accurate to the ambiance of Shallow Water Blackout.
That's how I understand music as a whole, like all in moments.
All right, Miguel, it's your turn. Outside of Shallow Water Blackout, I know the guitar is your main instrument. How does that influence your colorful and flourishing busy bass parts? And what part does it play in the music? And would you say that you would consider it kind of like a second melody?
I think so, yeah. I think, like I had said earlier, like I feel like I don't do a lot of like bass fundamentals like as I should. Like I feel like there's many times where I'm like, yeah, I should probably just stick to playing the root note or just like holding down the low end, but like I kind of just let my mind wander. I'm like, let me just try this out. I'll like start playing like higher notes or like whatever. And I think sometimes, yeah, I can make like counter melodies or, you know, things like that. And I think they kind of all tie in together pretty well. So I think it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely more fun for me as well on stage. So that's cool.
Well, so would you say it's like a second melody, kind of? Because there's a lot to listen to.
I think so. I think a good example of that is the part right before the 6/8 section of Proclamation. Like Logan's kind of doing his like reverse delay, you know, kind of thing on guitar and just going crazy like spacey. And then there's like a bass melody, like kind of like lying underneath that. So it is really cool, I think. And it is like a separate melody, I would say.
Nice. Yeah. So that's the end. That's the end of the interview. I hope you guys really did enjoy my questions. I really enjoy your music, so thank you guys for giving me the time and everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Tony and Joey coming out tonight. Honestly.
Yes.
Honestly, the vibes.
And thank you for watching too.
Thank you, sir.
Quite interested in hearing
What's
what
your
you had
name?
to say. My name is Miguel.
Miguel.
Yes.
What's his name? Well, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right, thank you guys.
And leave all their adoring fans high and dry without saying even goodbye.
Aww.
It's so cool that you're giving this interview. I really appreciate you doing this, guy. Thank you, dude.
Thank
I was
you.
learning about your band at emo, but I learned
Thank you. That's awesome, yeah. No, you're all good.
Thank you.
That means a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Goodbye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Stella.
Goodbye. Goodbye to the fans.
Thank you, Tony.